Hello and welcome to episode 171 of the Weekly Song Podcast. If you've not joined us here before, the format of the show is us two idiots decide to write a song every week and then perform it for each other and sort of discuss it on what went into it and basically all the fun little things that you can do around songwriting. Time to introduce the idiots. Idiot number one, would you care to introduce yourself?
I am Roger, I am the first idiot, and who are you?
I'm Declan, and I'm the second idiot. It's the privileged position. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, yeah, I'm doing good. I feel like I've hit my stride now with writing songs. We're 3 weeks into this season, and I feel like I've suddenly kind of like, it's kicked in that I can do it again.
I feel kind of weirdly that, but also like like things have taken a little bit of a step back. But you'll see why when we get to getting to do this one. So we each take it in turns each week as to who goes first, and the person going first this week is
me. Okay. So yeah, it's me going first this week, and I have a song for you called "Sink or Swim."
Ooh.
It's called "Sink or Swim." I forgot to look into the camera, but I'm doing it now.
That's fine. We're not quite used to this multi-camera setup here, you know.
We're not, but we're making the best of it. So yeah, I'll play it to you now. Falling again and again and again and again makes you wanna pretend somebody's watching over you. And if you believe there's a cloud up there where your angel sits and stares anytime you fall down, you may want to say you were cursed on the day that you thought that you had what it takes to make a better life again. As soon as you fall, your back's to the wall and you've no one to call. It's sink or swim. Nobody has what it takes till they bend just enough for the roots to be torn. Nothing gets fixed till it knocks you for six. Even then, there's a chance you'll ignore. Beautiful. Over and over and over, I feel like the moment I go to the well, I got a black cloud over me. I beg and I plead for the clouds to recede, but there's no one to heed me anytime it pours down. And hey, who's to say it's a permanent phase, it could end at the end of the day and give another life to you. You cry and you bawl till they knock down the wall at the end of it all. It's sink or swim. Nobody has what it takes till they bend just enough for the roots to be torn. Nothing gets fixed till it knocks you for six. Even then, there's a chance you'll ignore. You'll learn in time, you'll change your mind when nature calls. You'll dig a little deeper out there. You'll find your world's just kind enough to let you start again. Up and away, it's a brand new day. It's the things that you think and you say that have got a hold on you. But what if the best hasn't come to you yet? You can only expect to sink or swim. Nobody has what it takes till they bend just enough for the roots to be torn. Nothing gets fixed till it knocks you for six. Even then, there's a chance you'll ignore.
So that was Roger's song, Sink or Swim, and I really quite like that. It's got a lovely little groove to that. So it feels very jolly, and then you listen to the lyrics and you think, oh no, I'm sad.
Funny you say that, because this is like the happiest one I've done so far, I think. Am I so out of touch?
No, it's the kids who are wrong. There's like a lot of like lyrical imagery in here about like a sort of like bending or breaking, sinking or swimming, but it is sort of like countered really nicely by that sort of overall sort of just happy, momentum, just moving forward, just.
Well, like, at least it's sonically happy. Because
that might be a title.
Yeah, at least it's sonically happy, yeah. Because I want to write happier songs. I went to an open mic a couple of months back now, it was a little while ago, but I went there and I played 3 songs, and it went really well, and I really, I got off and somebody went, hey, I really enjoyed that, but did you know all 3 of your songs are about death? And I went, oh shit, yeah, you're right. And I kind of wanted to write something different.
You'll be song number 4 if you're not careful.
Yeah. So I wanted to write something different. And this one, it comes out of basically just, you got to pay your bills, you got to pay your bills.
Now, some people might be thinking that this is a metaphorical thing. I'm assuming, having known you for these 171 episodes, that the lyrical impetus for this, as well as that story, might have been having a bill through the door.
Yeah, it's quite literal, really. I mean, I've
gotta pay my tax, gotta pay my energy bill, or they'll cut me off before we get tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. It's getting a bill through the door, and it's just like, as I've said in the previous couple of episodes, like, I've just moved into this place, and I really like it, and I'm self-employed, so kind of what I earn in a month is kind of down to how much I put in, and like, this is basically about that, but like, yeah, it's just like, it's that thing of like, things do get hard and things are tough, but like, it's kind of up to you at the end of the day, and there's a certain like positivity about that. Like, I've got to make this work, you know what I mean?
It kind of reminds me of something you've said about my songs before, like a we happy few kind of feeling, like or like, yeah, things may be a bit rubbish, but there will be things to sort of pull you through it, or like there are challenges to meet, but you can meet them. Look at other people meeting them. Exactly,
yeah, like, people do make this work, so so I kind of knew I wanted to write something happy, something upbeat, and I've done this a couple of times, and it's quite a cool tip actually, I think, for like kind of, I don't know where to start sort of thing, is like, think of a rhythm, you know what I mean? Similar to like the boom, boom, clap, doom, doom, we will rock you sort of thing. Doom, doom.
The trouble is, if I do that, I just end up thinking, buddy, you're a boy, make a big nut split.
I mean, so like, I kind of thought like, what would the drums be doing? Something really upbeat. And then I came up with the silliest first lyric ever, which was falling again and again and again and again and again and again,
And that works, like if texturally matches what's happening with the guitar there, like, and I do like that sort of having that root note and then sort of moving the melody line on the top. To sort of like imply the passing of chords, when really what you're just doing is like, if you had this in a band, it would just be a bassist who's going like, hey, 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 hey.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's like just an attempt to like, because it's quite a simple song chord wise. It's like you say in that verse, you're just kind of going, hey, 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 and then you go to E. And then it sounds like it moves to quite a different chord, but it just goes E7, da 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 da, up to the D, which is the 4, and then back to the 1.
It's just those little suspensions putting in little runs over the top of everything.
Yeah.
Which can make all the difference.
It really can, yeah. And it's like, yeah, having a riff in there just makes it feel a little bit more like, a bit more movement and stuff. But yeah, I mean, just that kind of, I had the idea of an upbeat song, a song about sort of making things work because you have to, and falling again and again and again makes you want to pretend somebody's watching over you. So like, it's like,
it always feels like somebody's watching me.
I used to think that song was by Michael Jackson for the longest time.
Everybody does.
Yeah, I did too. Is it by Rockwell?
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of rocking well,
We're quite good at that transitions here. We've been doing this now for 171 episodes. I think we know what we're doing. We go from going from one section to t'other.
That was the corniest one ever, but for me. But yeah, just kind of coming up with like lyrics that were about like having like a guardian angel and believing in that or whatever. But like at the end of the day, it's up to you, sink or swim. You know, you've got to do something about it. And really, there's not much deeper to the lyrics than that. It's just kind of finding good rhymes and lyrics to work with that.
I will say that you've written quite a good many of them, to the point where you had to enlist, literally before we started, you just goes, I've got a job for you.
Could you please flip it over? I said, when it gets to that minor 4, can you flip it? And you've flipped it every minor 4, which I love.
Just, you told me to do something and I'll do it to the best of my ability.
Oh, yeah.
And you just played the minor 4 there again, so...
Thank you. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, there was just a lot of, like, I just think I said to you on Messenger, like, the thing that took the longest wasn't, like, the song, it was the lyrics. It was just like, I have a song structure now, but, okay, I've got to go back and write the lyrics, and so that took me a little while. But I think this is my favourite chorus from a while. I like the "Nothing Gets Fixed Till I Knocks You for 6" line. And just generally, I'm pleased that I wrote a song that is cohesive. And it doesn't just kind of meander off in poetic directions. It's like, it's about a thing, and it's upbeat, and it's not about death. So, you know, that's 3 for 3.
That's all you can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's pretty much it for this song, unless there's anything I haven't really highlighted.
So, I like that little stop you have going into the final chorus like that. I think if we look back at the footage of that camera, you'll catch me going like,
oh, yeah. What the... Nothing gets fixed till it knocks.
Because I can imagine just like...
Yes! That's definitely like the kind of like big sort of like moment. And I love that thing of like stopping on the 1 and having everything coming on the 2. Boom. It's like a really like a nice atmosphere to
just
it.
throw everyone out of kilter for a second. It's so much fun.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm really glad you like it. I'm thinking like doing something kind of like building up, producing it and stuff like that, but
yeah, absolutely.
You know, for a future date, I think, but just yeah.
I wouldn't play that song on a date. Like
oh no.
Like, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, by the way, I've just got something prepared. Hold on. Sink us.
Hey baby, this song's about paying the bills.
Yeah, but at least it's not about death.
Oh my god, death and taxes, my 2 lyrical themes.
The only certainties.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, okay, enough of my jibber jabbering. I would love to hear your song, so we're gonna go into the next section.
Well, yes we are. And show off. My song this week is called Rough Around the Edges. I feel that's kind of a good title to get you in the spirit of the thing. It goes somewhat like this. I'm never quite certain what I'm ever gonna get with you. Sometimes brash and impulsive, and yet other times over far through. At first it made me wary, I held back, yet I can't deny. But there's something in your spirit, in your soul that makes me feel alright. Yeah, you're rough around the edges, but I like that. Top it always open, yeah, I like that. Keep me on my toes, but never let me go. You're rough around the edges, and I like that. Between the alleys with the secrets that you hide away. I worry that I'll lose you, and I won't know where to go. But you always keep me right, keep it centered on the truths we know. Yeah, you're rough around the edges, but I like that. Top but always open, yeah, I like that. You keep me on my toes, but never let me go. You're up around the edges, and I like that. I could never change you even if if I tried. The quote's really legit inside. Gas the first stone if you have no flaws. Up beneath the surface you discover more. This is the guitar solo section. It's been a while since I've done this.
So that was Declan's third song of the season. That was Rough Around the Edges, and I like that.
It worked! It worked!
I mean, that's got to be up there for like chorus of the season so far. I absolutely love it. It's so
we're less
catchy.
than halfway through, so give it time.
Well, no, this is fantastic. How did it start?
Well,
It's got to be good. He's slurping.
oh,
He's slurping.
this one is a little bit unusual in how it came about. So, last week I went up to see a mate of mine, Fletch, who's been on the podcast before, Fletcher James, and we both used to live in Bristol. He's just come back to the country, so he's not living there at the moment, and I got priced out of Bristol, so I'm not living there at the moment. But we met up there, and we were having a bit of a chat, and the chat turned towards the city, and we both sort of liked how it's got a bit of a weird feel to it. Like you'll have things of beauty there. Like you'll have like great Victorian architecture, really ancient buildings and streets and things, and then they'll be right next to a Sainsbury's or something, or
Right.
like a little corner shop, or like you'll have like this beautiful modern glass building or something, and it'll be next to a pub that should have been got rid of years ago, and no one quite knows why. It's like a mixture of dingy and also really sort of like enjoyable place to be. Like it's lovely and it's also disgusting.
I can attest to that, having visited.
Yeah, I think this is just a thing with cities in general. But like we sort of said that towards the end of the conversation, and then I get on the train back home, and it ends up being quite a long train ride home. And I sort of keep thinking, coming back to this sort of like there being two sides to the city, and the phrase comes into my head, rough around the edges, and then I just hear the chorus line in my head, like you're rough around the edges, but I like that. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Sure, I remember that before I get home. And then more of the lines start coming to me as I'm on the train and walking home. I must have looked like a bit of a madman on the train, so I was just like there. For the audio listeners, I'm miming just like like mouthing the words of the song. I think by the time I got home, I had the first verse, the chorus, half of the second verse, and sort of an idea for what the bridge was going to be. Okay. So I just that's why it sort of came out really quickly.
I got the impression it did, yeah.
So like I was just running it through my head, and because I had it sort of stuck in there like much better than other songs had. So it's just a case of like working out the sort of syllable count and everything. And it actually got to the point where I finished the lyrics before putting any music on, which is very weird for me. Normally I work the other way around. I will say that the lyrics aren't necessarily about cities anymore. It's no longer about architecture, you understand. We've gone on to use it as a metaphor for something else.
Yeah.
Like rough around the edges, I think is also kind of like this is obviously a relationship song, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely, yeah.
Like it's like yeah, okay, there's a bit of work to do, but like your soul is good, your intention is good, your ideas are good, so you know, who's perfect?
Right, yeah. It's like kind of what I get from it is like having a friend or a relationship or something like that, and there's things about the person that are kind of like you're a little unsure of sometimes.
Keep me on my toes, but never let me go.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, yeah, but I like that. And I like that person, you know.
Yeah, I did debate like trying to come up with something better for The end of the chorus is, and I like that. But, keep it simple, stupid. Like, yeah, I like that. Cool. That's the lyric.
I like the fact that, I like the fact that it came to you so quickly that you were like, because I imagine when you said, rough around the edges, and I like that has a certain so it's like got a rhythm to it already, even before you came up with music. I bet that helps, right?
It did help a lot, like trying to go for a little bit of that post-punk sort of new wave feel. It's one of those things where, because the chords I put to it were very simple, I did end up thinking, like, does this just sound a bit too generic for bringing on the podcast?
Oh, no.
Does it sound a bit too much like every other song that's ever been written? And we say it all the time, there's nothing wrong with simple songs, so here is a simple song. The verse chords came really quickly. It's just going from, in the key of F, a 1 to a 5 to a 4 to a 5, and then first time through you go to a 6, second time through you go to 1. It used to always resolve to the 1. I put that 6 to D minor in there just so it wasn't literally 4 of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's now only 2 of the same thing.
Definitely. It's a nice trick that sort of like, rather than resolving to the 1, you go to the 6 instead, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a, different emotion.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And it's sort of nice to sort of resolve that, like, on the second time through to the 1. The effect of it is just like, okay, little uneasy, actually we're fine. Little uneasy, actually we're fine. Oh wait, we're in the chorus now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Pain in the ass was trying to work out what the but I like that, what chord that was going to shift to, because I was thinking that's going to be the B flat, it's going to be the 4. No, too happy.
Yeah.
Put it to the 5. No, that just sounds like we're doing like a
Right.
It ended up just being a G minor.
So just the 2 chord?
Just the 2 chord, yeah.
Right.
Which then caused a bit of a problem at the end because it didn't sound right at the end. Like, you're rough around the edges and I like that. Like, just because of the way the vocal falls on it.
Yeah.
So it ends up being this slightly weird thing, which, for the audio listeners, I was just struggling to get my guitar. It ends up being an F chord, but keeping that sort of sus2 in there.
Oh.
But having to sort of putting an F on there to sort of mute the open G string.
Right.
Which is because otherwise, like a around the edges and I like that. Like it works, but it's a bit clunky because you're wanting a bit of. You're wanting like that root to sort of be there.
Yeah.
Almost like a.
Yeah.
I can play guitar, I swear.
No, that's really cool. Sometimes it is a case of kind of like you can hear, vocal melody wise, you hear da 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 da, but like chord wise, sometimes it just takes a bit of mining to go like, no, not that one. Never played that before, but that seems to work.
But yeah, other than that, it seemed to come together quite quickly. And I think this is a song that needs a guitar solo. This is a 1970s new wave song. It needs a bit of a guitar solo, which is why it goes round to the verse chords. That's actually not something that I've done in a while.
That used to be your thing. When we first met, you were like, here's a new demo I made. Here's where the guitar solo goes.
Because I assumed that I would be rich and famous and successful by now. Oh, past me, how wrong you were.
You didn't know that streaming would take over the world and...
It already had, I was just living in denial.
Kneecap musicians worldwide.
Yeah.
But no, this is fantastic. There's a bridge.
There is a bridge.
There's
Moving
a
on.
bridge. Which is a really good bridge. Was that an afterthought? Did that come to you quite quickly too?
I think there needed to be a bridge. Like, I could never change you even if I tried. That bit came quickly. Nice and cliche. It's also kind of one thing with the tone of the words for this one. I had to be very, very careful because if it's the whole point of the song is about rough around the edges. So there are bits about this person that you like that make you feel a bit uneasy. If you play that wrong, that just sounds like something else entirely. So I was trying my best to sort of just try and keep it all light and keep it like, you're a bit of an odd duck, but you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must say, Seymour, you are an odd fellow.
But you steam a good ham.
So that's kind of where the bridge came in. Like, your quirks only ever show the truth inside is what the line was meant to be. Which I'm not sure about that word quirks, but then also quirks implies that whatever deficit with the other party is light. It's not like it's not anything serious. It's just like, oh, you
with your foibles, with your lovable foibles. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, yeah, and that they only ever point to like some deeper truth, which presumably is a good truth.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Cast the first stone if you have no flaws, because who of us here is completely normal? I am me. I am normal. Me. And then
classic Bible line from Biblical Declan Kitchener, the most atheist person I know, quoting from the Bible. I love it.
It's just a common saying at this
point.
Yeah,
exactly.
And look beneath the surface, you'll discover more. That's the weakest line there. But also, it's also meant to go into like a big rock guitar solo, so that's fine.
Yeah.
It can be a bit dumb. It's gonna be another 20 seconds before you hear the human voice again.
Right. That could be a title too. But yeah, I mean, I like, and also like when you are writing lyrics, sometimes it's so tempting to be like, oh, I don't quite like this line as much as the rest. But I think at a certain point, like we've written hundreds of songs now, you just go, not it's good enough, but like you said, it's about to go into guitar solo. The meat and potatoes of that section of the song is going to be a build up and like going into the solo. It doesn't matter like about the poetry of that,
And also, just like, this is a very basic song. This is not complex. There are 5 chords in the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
So I think not having Shakespeare or Wordsworth quality lyrics, we'll live with that.
Yeah.
Like, so what, this isn't going to sit alongside like Dickens or like Mary Shelley or anything like that. Like, it's a fun little song about finding people odd, and I think there should be more of those.
I completely agree. I mean, you say all this, but cut to 100 years in a primary school and they're teaching, rough around the edges.
And like teaching how it's actually dated quite poorly, and how we don't use these kind of words, like describing someone as quirky.
Oh my god!
Goodness!
Jeez, like,
cancel us now.
Yeah, my god. He says he's rough around the edges. What an insult!
Tough but always open. Yeah, I like that. That's a bit of an odd one. But like, again, it's like you've got to try and restate the first thing in a slightly different way, and it's also got to rhyme. And like, it's got to rhyme with the word rough. So
yeah,
your options are limited. He's tough but always ready. Yeah. No, you can't go there. That's a very different vibe altogether.
I mean, and just as far as like getting a song done in a week, sometimes it's just like, that rhymes, we need a lyric to finish the song. Better like...
Here is a song that is fit for purpose.
Exactly. That's brilliant. It's really, really good. Anything you want to mention about the song which we haven't covered?
No. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Perfect. I love it. My favourite song of yours so far.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
I still have 4 weeks to go. I could still screw this up majorly.
Okay, so that's the songs for this week. We have written a song each, as we always do. So what have you been listening to this week? Anything perked up your listening muscles?
They're looking a bit weak and flabby. Normally like this, and then this week they're just like this. And it's just like,
I just want the excuse to show off your guns. Pew pew.
Gonna have to like get this on like premium YouTube so that you have to buy tickets to the gun show.
Oh yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
This is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
I mean, this whole section so far is kind of a train wreck.
No, we're keeping this in. So I haven't listened to much this week. The most notable thing I've listened to is I found the CD single of Tongue Tied, the song from Red Dwarf season 2. The version that's on the TV show is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Motown song, but then the actors got hold of it and turned it into a slightly 80s thing. So it's a Motown inspired but with a hint of the 80s. Then one of the actors decided to release it as a single, and they went really hard with 1993 music production on it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
1993 was not a good year for production.
No, it wasn't.
No.
What's worse is that it was released as like a single, but it's a single that's got like 8 tracks on it, and they're all remixes.
Of the same song?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And some of them are basically indistinguishable. And like, the thing is, it's a comedy song written to be like in a dream sequence in a TV show. It's a fun listen if you listen through it once, and then you listen through like 7 or 8 times, and it's like, yeah, the joke has worn off somewhat now.
Yeah. So do you prefer the original to any of the remixes?
Yes. Specifically the version that's in the TV show.
Yeah. Was it written by Howard Goodall?
Yes.
You did say that, yeah.
In fact, on the Red Dwarf Season 1 box set, there's an interview of Howard Goodall talking about all the music he wrote for Red Dwarf, and he talks about some of the songs, like the Rimmer song and the Om song, and the song Tongue Tied, where he said, I specifically wrote it on the piano to be like a Motown thing, and then Danny and Craig got hold of it. Right.
Wait, so it's a Motown song, and then they kind of like added synths and stuff to it, is it?
A little bit, yeah. They thought, this would be cool. You know, this character would be listening to this kind of music, and like, it's like, guys, it's a dream.
Yeah, we don't need it to go too hard. It's just a dream.
I'll have to show you. Are you aware of it at all?
I'm not. You have to show me. Yeah.
We'll get it up on YouTube after.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How about yourself? What have you been listening to?
Well, I've been trying to like kind of because I've got like demos that are on my hard drive, and some that are just like part of the podcast, and some that go way back I haven't used. So I've been trying to like pull them all together into one list of like usable songs, and I don't know. Sometimes you listen back to old stuff you've done, and it's just like, oh my god, it's like cheesy or like kind of you. Tom Waits put it really well. He said, listening to old songs of yours is like looking at an old picture of yourself where you have a double chin. That's the perfect description of it.
And like, it's one of those things you'll remember it like, oh yeah, that photo that we took there, I looked really good on that day. And then like, you will look back at the photo and...
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I'm screwing up my face. I act as much as I can.
I mean, so it just makes you think like, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? And
tell you my strengths are...
YouTube Premium. Onlyfans.com/The Weekly Song Podcast.
Oh god, the audio listeners, it's not as good as you think.
I mean, out of the two of us, if either of us has quote unquote guns, it is yourself and not me.
So, your music, Roger.
No, just generally, just I'm not saying this to talk about my stuff necessarily, but just like it makes you think about your strengths and weaknesses, and I think sometimes it's just a case of simple is better. Like, those are the songs I like the best of mine.
It's odd, because you listen back to your own stuff sometimes, and like, I have this where like, when I was writing a lot more riff-based songs, it would come up with like a really cool riff, like, boom, boom, down, down, down. It's like, oh, this is really cool. And then poor wee little teenage Declan comes in and goes, it's like, no, my boy, learn to sing and learn what you can't sing.
That's the thing. I think that puts it really well. It's like, learn what works for your voice, not just your voice, but your songwriting voice too.
Yeah, because I was very guilty, and I still am to a degree, of writing songs that I want to perform as opposed to songs which suit the particular apparatus that I have. And it's really evident when you're a teenager and you're trying to write heavy rock songs.
Yes, and I think there's a certain element of like trying to cram everything in the kitchen sink into a songwriting session where you listen back and you go, you didn't need to go full Beyonce on the vocal and have a guitar solo the way you're shredding.
I miss Beyonce Roger. Beyonce Roger needs to come back.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Episode 8 of this season, folks.
That's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things where I listened back to some demos and I was like, "Chill, man, chill." It's cool.
Like 144p, where it's like bad magic, but like 2 octaves above where I'm doing it.
I swear to God, I had 2 like adolescences. I had my first one in my teenage years, and then in my like early mid-20s, I had another one where my voice could still really go high. And now I kind of have more of a chest voice, which is weird if you think about it, because like, you know, you should only have one adolescence.
You've been blessed with 2.
Yay! Great.
But so, have you got this sort of list of usable songs together then?
Sort of. I mean, I'm still going through older stuff, but I've got about 7 or 8 songs which I haven't done anything with yet, from like old podcast seasons or between seasons or something. So it's just a case of, I'm not trying to do anything with them yet, but you know, they're just things of like, next time we make a record together or next time I'm making a record, it's just like, what songs have you got? And like, I want to actually have an answer to that rather than like, I've got songs.
Here is my back catalogue.
Well, I've got like not usable and a usable list, and the not usable list is so long.
Yeah, I did something similar when I sort of organised songs to sort of show to people. Whereas like I had good songs, good music, but the vocals and the melody needs work. And
yeah, I think everyone has that list, to be fair. That list.
it's an essential part of your. If you don't have an listen, are you really a musician?
My neighbours are like, what the hell is going on in there? Aurora Borealis. But yeah, I mean, so just listening to old demos, putting together that list. The nice thing about having multiple projects is like, if I go, oh, that's an acoustic ballad, I can do it by myself. If I have something that's a bit more like riff based, I generally go, oh, maybe that's something Declan and I could do, you know?
Or like maybe that's the foundation of a Pea Green Boat song or something like that.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've been listening to myself this week.
Let it not be said that we are not egotistical on the show.
To be fair, I'm not sitting there like with headphones going, this fucking rocks!
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, this guy should have been signed years ago. Oh yeah.
It's more like a case of like, I suppose I have to do this, you know.
Yeah.
So,
If I must.
yeah. Okay, so thank you, songwriting fans, for listening to another episode of the Weekly Song Podcast. We really appreciate you listening, tuning in. If you have any thoughts, comments, ideas for the show, any suggestions, anything you want to, you know, put down on paper and send over, not paper, you know, digitally speaking, you can email the show at weeklysongpodcast.
Oh look, we've got something here.
Turn it over. You can email the show at weeklysongpodcast@gmail.com. We always like correspondence coming into the old inbox. And yeah, you can find the Weekly Song Podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. For those of you listening to audio, because the audio's been going forever, but you know, if you're listening to audio, you can actually now see us by going over to YouTube, and
You can get tickets to the gun show.
we should have a whole new item for the show, of the show called The Gun Show.
I hate myself.
Pew 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 pew. You can also find, as well as the Weekly Song Podcast on all those platforms I just mentioned, you can also find Schnookums on Instagram, on Spotify, on Apple Music, Bandcamp. And Schnookums is the project that Declan and I do together, where it's 50-50. It's songs we've both written and we produce them together and we play all the instruments on the thing. And we have an album out called Attaboy, which I highly encourage you to take a listen to.
There's some very good songs on there, and also ones that I wrote.
But yeah, so that is that bit of the outro. Declan, where can people find you and your music online?
We're so slick, aren't we? You can find my music on places like Spotify, iTunes, Tidal. I'm just going to go between these two cameras. Editing Declan is going to have so much fun.
He's going to be like not in a good mood at all, and just
Just like we're going to stop the video version of the podcast, please. You can find my music on Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, Deezer, fun places online, Bandcamp.
The one that pays money.
Yeah, baby. That is your ticket to the gun show.
Free gun show with all purchases of albums.
Oh, I hate myself so much. Beyond that, you can find some of my music on YouTube. If you search Declan Kitchen and Music, there are some covers that I did a few years ago, back when the whole world got a bit of a nasty cold. So that's about it for me. Where can people find you and your various myriad plentiful projects?
Well, as you heard earlier in the episode, I think they're all crap and cheesy. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I've got
Salesman of the Year.
I've got a bunch of albums out now. You can find anything, like Declan just said, Apple Music, Spotify, all that kind of thing, YouTube, Bandcamp. Just search Roger Heathers. I've also got a project called Pea Green Boat, which I do with my friend Joe. Yeah, that's just look up Roger Heathers. I'm on Instagram, quite active there. And but anyway, yeah. So like I say, that's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. I just changed camera, editing Declan. I'm really sorry. I'm getting used to this. And tune in again next week for episode 172, where we'll have 2 brand new songs that we are currently writing right now this week.
Well, I've not started.
I am currently writing a song this week.
For reference, it is Thursday and I have until Sunday.
This is true, yeah. And yeah, I'm probably not going to write the full thing until Sunday anyway. Anyway, see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, ta-ra.
Ta-ra.